So how do you test a user story that required address validation?
Well, that is another question. I think that in the previous question, I forgot to mention about the client is outside of the USA, but the nature is the same. We get the data from the vendor, similar test data we tested. So let's come to the address validation. Yes, we have, by default, we do the multiple way. In our case, because the client, the nature is different. Most of our clients, 70% of the client in the US. And we have a third party, the system. It is actually integrated with our system, the same nature of the credit card, development to development, testing to testing, staging to staging, and production to production. So that company actually provide all the address validation. So once we provide any of the address on the user portal, in the buyer portal, so actually there is an API calls on our backend, and our backend goes to that backend to make sure this address is validated. So that's the typical way we do it. Even when we address the update the address, it follows the same approach. One API calls make to our backend, and our backend goes to their backend to make sure the address is updated. At the same time, we used to have they give us a portal where we can actually see the latest, the update, any update happening on the any specific state or any specific the county or the city. We don't need it because the way our system is generated, anytime the user make any changes, it actually goes all the way to the multiple system to validate the address. So this is our happy path. Some of the occasion we have some issues. Example, some users, they write the address on their perspective, like the 123 the Test Street and the suite 201. So of course we have one of the occurrence, the user is typing in, putting their address, and it goes to our backend to the vendor backend, and vendor backend is different. They store the address different way. So at this moment we are throwing the error to the users. And the user raised the concern that, no, my address is correct. You guys cannot do that. So what we did, and then our vendors, they said, well, the user address is also correct. So we have to do some mechanism. What is the mechanism? The moment the user is inputting some address, it is different than what the vendor database has. So at this moment, we are going to show, okay, you provided this address, and here is the recommended. So most of the time, users see the recommended address is also correct. So user just use the recommended address. In that case, this has been like the reduce the confusion. And again, in the production perspective, the same approach we are given the sets up the user address, but in this case, it's different. In this case, difference in a sense is that each of the user address has a name, actually the user name included. So as an example, John Doe, Mary Doe, like they're actually the name. Actually, this is actually our address. Those address have the specific, those name have the specific address, means specific state, specific city, specific county. Okay, so once we do in the production validation, we do this, but I will go over more details if you have questions, something similar.